What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Splash City. My name is Ethan. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So today we are going to talk about the Golden State Warriors. We finally have some basketball to discuss, albeit preseason, so none of this is really counting for anything. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. Don't overreact. We hear this every year, so I'm not going to give you the spiel, but I'm just going to tell you what I saw and react to that. Not keeping in mind that it is a preseason game, right? So it feels only right to start off with discussing my favorite team, the Golden State Warriors, because those are the games that I've obviously been watching, caught as much of them as I have been able to over the past couple of days, and what I have seen from Golden State has really, really impressed me. Now, yes, it's only been 2 games, and of course it's the preseason, but there's some really, really good signs here, and overall, I think the vibe and the feeling around this team is certainly much different than it was last year, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think personally that internally the Warriors really do believe that they're going to go for it this season, whereas last year I don't think they felt that way. So hopefully, things do end up working out, but it seems to me that the moves they made over the offseason are indicative that this team is really going to, try to go all out for the NBA championship this year. Now, I don't think they're the favorite. I don't even know. Some people consider them maybe top 5. They're in that conversation, right? But they have a puncher's chance of winning the finals, and that's all I can really ask for. So I'm excited for this team this year, and let's talk about some more specifics of what they did this offseason. Let's start with this dude right here, Jordan Poole. When I tell you that I bought his jersey in the first quarter of the first preseason game, I'm not kidding you. I literally ordered a Jordan Poole jersey like a couple minutes into the first game because I had a feeling that he was going to have a breakout season. A lot of people did. He had some pretty good odds on most improved player and 6th man of the year and stuff like that. Considering how well he closed out last season, it felt like he was going to make a leap, and boy, has he. Now, obviously, I've said this like 3 times, but it's just been 2 games so far. Jordan Poole has been, pretty close to the best player on the court. Like, obviously, he's sharing a court with, like, Steph Curry, but Jordan Poole has been up there, dude. He has been killing it so far. Like, hitting all these shots. He looks confident. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to the free throw line. He's, distributing the ball for others. He has held up defensively. He's rebounding even. So Jordan Poole has been the dude for the Warriors so far for these couple of games, and presumably he's going to be in that starting lineup at least until Klay Thompson comes back. And if he's playing this well, it's going to be hard to sit him down. Obviously, you put him on the bench for Klay, but is there a way to start all 3 of them? Probably not without moving Wiggins to the bench. So I don't know. That's a problem for a couple of months. And honestly, it's okay to have a guy this good coming off the bench as your 6th man. But Jordan Poole has been lining it up for Golden State. I could not be happier with what I've seen from him so far. He is making his bid to be one of my favorite players in the NBA. If he wasn't already. Jordan Poole is like my new hero, and I think he's so good. His ceiling has gone up incredibly over the past year or so. I mean, it's crazy to look back at just how bad his rookie year was. He was not good his rookie season. The team was horrible. But he's really, really come a long way, and I'm just so excited to be able to watch him, hopefully for the next, 12, 15 years, because it looks like he's going to have a really, really nice career. So I'm excited for Jordan Poole, and not trying to overreact, of course, but he's been so great. Now I want to jump to a couple of their free agency signings. Nemanja Bjelica and Otto Porter Jr., of course Andre Iguodala as well, but we've seen him with the Warriors. We know what he can do, right? And also Avery Bradley, you can extend that to him as well. The Warriors have corrected a mistake from last year, and really this has been, I think, a mistake that this regime has made multiple times. This is pretty insider Warrior stuff, but, really, as far back as I can remember, specifically during the KD years, though, this Warriors team would prioritize like athleticism and a very specific skill set over just being a high IQ basketball player. It's just kind of a weird thing. If you look back at some of the signings that they've made over the past couple of years, specifically if we look at last year, right, you can look at Kelly Oubre, Kent Bazemore, Brad Wanamaker. You can take it back even further, guys like Willie Cauley-Stein and Glenn Robinson, and a couple of the veterans that they've brought in to try to work with this team. Even back further, guy like Omri Caspi, Nick Young, guys like that. Is that those guys, I think, all sort of got in their head a little bit, were afraid to shoot at points, and they kind of would make mistakes where it's okay, you're not fitting into the Warriors offense, really. And already I can see that Bjelica, Otto Porter, and Avery Bradley all know how to play next to Steph Curry. And that is the most, like, the best sign for me, possibly early on, is that they know when to find Steph, they know when to, get him the ball, but they also know to take the open shot. They're not going to overthink taking an open three-pointer, even if Steph is on the court, because, if you're open, like, then you got to shoot it, dude. Like, I know that Steph is the best shooter in the world, right? And of course you want to get him as many shots as possible, but what's better, Steph being triple teamed or Bjelica wide open, right? That's kind of the thing there. And specifically Omri Caspi kind of struggled with that, and other players in Warriors past have had a hard time with that specifically. And so these players, I think, are doing a better job at that already. The other thing that I already am very encouraged by, and this is a whole team thing that everybody, even guys who were on the team last year, has done better at so far, and that is kicking out to shooters from the driving lane. So a lot of times last year, specifically Oubre and Bazemore would drive into the paint, try to take somebody off the dribble and get in there, and there's a center trying to contest, and they would just go up for the layup. They'd be like 3 or 4 dudes like converging on them in the paint, and they would still try to take the shot, like take the, a short mid-range or a step back, or go right to the paint and try to take the layup, right? And like, I don't understand why you do not kick it out to shooters. This has always boggled my mind, where it's like, dude, if you're in the paint and there are 3 dudes blocking you, what does that mean? That means that there's somebody open on the perimeter. That means you throw the ball out, kick it out back to the shooter, and try to find the open guy, right? If you're in the paint and there's 3 dudes on you, that means somebody else is open. And I've seen Bjelica do that many, many times so far already. I've seen Otto Porter do that play. I've seen Avery Bradley do that play. I think JTA had a nice one tonight as well, kick out to the shooter. That seems to be a team-wide focus, and I'm so glad they're working on that, because that bugged me to no end last year. Because specifically Oubre and Bazemore would do that a lot, where they would go into the paint and have a really heavily contested layup rather than kicking it back out to Steph freaking Curry, right? So I'm just encouraged by the signs of these veterans. These are high IQ basketball role players that have been around the league for a while, know what they're doing, and they are already making the right play 2 preseason games in. So I'm very encouraged by that, because that is something that the Warriors have been lacking in the role player department for pretty much as long as I've been watching them. So it's good to see them, make that adjustment there. Another thing from tonight is a lot of people are concerned about the lack of playing time that the rookies are getting, and I'm not worried about that at all. Kuminga and Moody both did not play much in this game. They were, some of the last guys off the bench and got in the fourth quarter. Kuminga tweaked his knee, so he left early. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully there's nothing crazy there. Didn't look too severe, but hopefully he's fine. I'm not worried about that, honestly. I think that the rookies they're going to get their time to play this season. I don't think it's going to be right away. I think they're going to give them some more time. They kind of learned from Wiseman a little bit last year. They kind of threw Wiseman into the fire, and he's the second overall pick, so you kind of got to do what you got to do, right? And when Wiseman comes back, I expect that he will play heavy minutes. But the other 2, I think, will get their chances, and if they play well, they can earn more playing time. But for now, the Warriors are running with a veteran rotation. Steve Kerr made kind of a snarky comment, and he said, we're chasing wins this season, which if you've been following the Warriors, there's been parts where, there's been the quote saying we're not chasing wins, etc., as the reason for not playing Steph more heavily in the fourth quarter, or not starting the veterans over the rookies, or, whatever. We're not chasing wins, right? But this year, Steve Kerr says, hey, we're chasing wins. So whether he was being facetious or not, that's, not up to me to say. But I think that they are, the Warriors are aware of what the stakes are this year, and I think it's okay if Kuminga and Moody are not going to be playing heavy minutes right away. Like I said, I expect that they will get their opportunities at some point this season, and if they play well, they have the right to earn more playing time, and that's just going to be how it is. That's how it is for most rookies around the league, and so I expect that that's going to be the situation for them. Like I said, hopefully Kuminga's knee is okay. Didn't look like it was too bad, so I'm not concerned about that at all, really. And then I want to talk about the final roster spot. So the Warriors have 14 guys who are basically guaranteed locks for next year. I think the only one of them that is not on a guaranteed contract would be Damian Lee, but all the reporting we have suggests that he is safe. and he's already passed, his partial guarantee date and stuff. So Damian Lee is safe on this roster. The 15th spot is going to be between Michael Mulder, Gary Payton II, and Avery Bradley for that last spot. And what we have, the intel that we have suggests that they're going to cut Michael Mulder and try to re-sign him back on a two-way contract to get the second two-way spot for him. So I think that's, the pretty much the most ideal situation for him, being able to get on that two-way. He can still play, but, they don't have to have him on the main roster, and he probably shouldn't be playing that much this year anyway because they do have more depth. And then it's, that last spot is going to come down to a battle between Gary Payton and Avery Bradley, and it sucks because Gary Payton II is dealing with a hernia, I think is what it was, and so he has not played in these first couple preseason games, which sucks because it would have been really nice to see that battle and get the full extent of what both of them can do in the preseason. We've seen a lot of Gary Payton II with the Warriors. I really like his fit with his team. I think he's a good player to have on your roster, and I would not be mad at all if he ended up winning the spot. But my gut says it probably goes to Avery Bradley. He's, like I was talking about, he's a veteran, been around the league a long time, and he's played well in these couple of preseason games so far. He hasn't shot the ball a lot. He's been mostly just playing defense and passing and stuff, which is really what his role should be anyway. Like obviously if he's open, take the shot, but he's not going to be the go-to guy in that regard. And he's played well enough to earn that spot. It sucks that Gary Payton is not able to be healthy and compete with him for it. We'll see. Obviously anything can happen, but I'm leaning toward Avery Bradley probably getting it. And I'm not going to be mad either way. I think both of those players are good and they both deserve the opportunity. And it just sucks that we're not going to see the full extent of that camp battle. Now, it is like a final roster spot situation. So whoever gets it is probably not going to end up playing a lot. I assume if Bradley does, he'll probably be in the rotation. He's been one of the first couple of guys off the bench for them in the preseason so far, so it's clear that Steve Kerr likes him, and we'll see how much he ends up playing for the Warriors this year if he is on the roster. But that's my thoughts on the camp battle there. And then I think the biggest thing with this Warriors team right now is that the vibe around the roster is clearly much different than it was last year. Last offseason was just weird because of the Clay injury. He got hurt the day before free agency started, and so that really affected their ability to sign like ring-chasing veteran free agents, right? This year they got guys like Bielitsa and Otto Porter. But last offseason, we have some pretty good reporting that states that they had deals lined up with a couple of guys, but they weren't able to close the deal because Klay Thompson got injured, and those players were like, oh, there's no chance to win a ring here anymore, so we're going to go sign with the Lakers or the Nets or the Clippers or etc., right? So that was unfortunate last year. I think while, externally the messaging was, hey, we're still going to try to compete this year even without Klay Thompson, I think internally in the front office, they were like, okay, we just need to take this as a down year. Let Steph go out, compete for an MVP, do his thing, win the scoring title, have a top 3 MVP finish, and Steph Curry was amazing. But overall, I think the coaching staff and the front office really did not believe they were going anywhere, and hence the "we're not chasing wins" quotes, right? And so I think last year, as much as the fans wanted them to try to make some moves at the deadline and try to improve the roster, use the disabled player exception, etc., it just was never really in the cards for them last year. It was honestly a miracle that they made the Oubre trade into the traded player exception for Andre Iguodala, and ultimately that didn't end up working out. But that was really the only move that they made that suggested, hey, we're going to try to win something this year. But ultimately, they really were just trying to just fast forward the clock and move to next season. So now we're here. We have Klay Thompson due back in December-ish, maybe November, maybe January, who knows right now. But Klay Thompson due back at some point before the playoffs, of course, with a couple of months to go in the regular season. And so they have adjusted accordingly, right? Klay's going to be back. Steph and Draymond are ready to make another run at this thing. They didn't have a deep playoff run last year, so everybody should be rested, ready to go. They signed veteran free agents, guys who are trying to win a ring. They drafted rookies who they feel can help right now. Hopefully James Wiseman is back healthy and he can contribute also. Jordan Poole has made a big jump. So I feel like internally the confidence around this Warriors roster is much, much higher than it was at this time last year. And we've seen that reflected in their personnel moves. So I think this team truly believes that they can go far. Last year, some of the people within the organization did, but I think a lot of them were kind of out on the team after Klay got hurt, which really sucks. And that's just the unfortunate circumstance of Klay Thompson having 2 season-ending injuries 2 years in a row. But, barring any complications, which God forbid Klay gets hurt again, that would be horrible. But barring anything, he should be back this year, and I'm really, really hoping that they can make another run at this thing. So I think that that's the biggest difference, is that internally the Warriors actually believe this year that they have something to prove and that they are going to go out and try to win a title. But yeah, that's all I have on the Golden State Warriors in their first couple preseason games. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring that bell if you want to, and leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about the Warriors and their moves this offseason, how they've played so far. Would love to hear your thoughts on that down in the comments below. And also leave me some suggestions on what you'd like to see from me this season. I'm looking for any type of content that you guys want me to make, and I'll try my best to make it happen. So give me some suggestions on the type of stuff you would like to see from me as we get closer and closer to the start of the NBA regular season. So with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one.